This was not what I was expecting at all. I just thought someone was going to ask me my career plans, and that would be it.
Shut up and listen. I majored in humanities. I racked up $200,000 worth of debt, majoring in studio art and film studies. What was I thinking?
Laura, I'm a creative writing major. I wanted to write fairy tales, and now I live with my parents.
What is Taylor? Marketing to ceramics with a minor in electronic music. I can't even get a job at Pottery Barn.
I studied the tribal dance of the Hopi Indians.
That's how many years you have to live in, right? When you go to grad school, that's another 4 years. Don't go to grad school!
Don't go to grad school.
What? You think that's funny? You think that's funny? I'll tell you what's funny. I racked up another $100,000 worth of debt in grad school. What's that smirk on your face? Because I'm going to be paying off my student debt until I'm dead.
When you're the oldest person working at a coffee bean, you come find me and tell me you don't drink yourself to sleep.
What's your major? What's your major? Music? Music! Even ringtones? Good to learn. Good to learn how to make ringtones.
Take it. I want you to hear she's here. I want you to repeat after me. Hi, Mom. Can I have $1,000 to rent this month? Yeah, you're going to be saying that every month until you decide to become a teacher at 32.
Who here has a Costco card? Raise your hand.
Nobody in
No
this
one has a Costco
has a Costco card.
What? Did I say this? Did I say this? Of course I don't have a Costco card. There are membership fees for that. We're all from here. Down there. Nobody else will. Get out of here.
I'd love to hear from angry people and my parents.
Alright guys, so if you watched the video, that might have seemed a little bit harsh, but we can agree it was a little bit funny. You know what's not funny though, is that 40% of students are transferring colleges, and 51% of students are changing their majors within the very first year. And that costs a lot of time and money, guys. So Unimentors allows incoming college students the opportunity to connect with a current college student who's studying the major that they're interested in at the school that they actually prefer. They're going to get first-hand advice that is unfiltered by privately video chatting on our platform with the student that they choose to talk to. And they do that before even setting foot on campus.
So how's that work? Pretty much on Unimentors, if you're a mentee, you get to browse mentors' profile for free. If you want to read answers to questions, answers to the questions about their schools and majors, you do so for free as well. If you want to read their blogs, which is generally about the school or their majors, that's also free. And when the mentee decides to sign up, they still do so for free. Right after signing up, Algorithm actually displays mentor that matches their schools and majors. But what it does too, it matches mentors they share the most personal interest with. Actually, what it does is it ranks those mentors from those they have the most personal interest in common with, on top of schools and majors, to those they have the least in common with. By the end of the day, the mentee chooses who they talk to. When they do so, they simply go to the mentor's calendar, make 3 appointment requests. The mentor will select one of those appointments, and then all they have to do after that is just log into the phone or now platform, either on the phone, tablet, or computer, and they attend the session.
So it's pretty easy to be one of our college mentors. All you have to do is go sign up using your .edu email address. All you need is your smartphone, computer, or tablet. Honestly, the best part about it is there's no uniform. You don't need any training. You don't need a car. And you can do this while earning $20 an hour.
Well, on our platform, mentee get to talk to mentors on the 2 formats. They either talk to them for free or they pay. Free mentors are mentors that are either sponsored by university admissions offices or mentors that are members of partner organizations such as Big Brother, Big Sister, and Starfish, and so on. The mentors you pay to talk to are mentors that have no affiliations whatsoever with the university besides the fact that they merely enrolled there. So the mentee will either pay $10 for a 15-minute session, 20 for a 30-minute session, or if they are undecided or need more time or are contemplating multiple universities, they purchase our 195-minute package. All of those plans can either be purchased together or individually. The goal that we have is actually to revolutionize the college decision-making process by giving a voice to those we believe have the law to share, those who have the first-hand account.
So it's our hope that Unimentors becomes a tool that is used by incoming college students and their parents to help them make more confident college choices.
That's Unimentors.
That's it.
All right, you guys have shared thing for Q&A? Okay, who wants to kick it off? Fabulous question askers. Ned? Yes.
So I guess I'm a little bit confused about your how do you make money model. You have a bunch of different people paying you money. First of all, I guess the first question is, are you out there? Do you have any traction? Do you exist? Do you have customers? What's going on with that? And then how are you going to make like billions of dollars with this at some point?
Well, our most basic unit is a 15-minute session, which costs $10. So we're in the last week of public testing, public beta right now. We have 400 mentors that we've recruited offline. As soon as we're done with the beta, they're going to be onboarded, and that's our plans to make billions.
Okay.
Eventually, we're going to scale out international. That's the absolute end goal.
Are you doing any sort of vetting for the mentors? Anyone can sign up, but I mean, let's be honest, some people's advice is better than others. I wouldn't take advice from him.
Yeah.
And so, is there any way you're going to do that? Because that's your deliverable. Is this access to these mentors, and I think there needs to be. So please explain.
Actually, that's a really good question. We had this idea in 2016, and part of 2016 was actually us researching and seeing exactly what parents from high schoolers and also what universities and also those that were seeking advice actually wanted. And what we found out was if we filtered, let's say either by GPAs and so on, we were actually cutting out a segment of people that may not be able to relate to those mentors that were on there. Because at the end of the day, for us, we wanted all type of people to feel like they could have access to people that can either relate to and find their path to success, whether they were like a 2.0 at this point and working toward a 3.0 and so on. So to answer your question, we don't have like an academic vetting system, but we make sure that all the mentors on our platform are actually enrolled at the university. We ask them the transcript or enrollment letter, and we ask them to sign up with the .edu emails.
Okay, follow-up question. And would you eventually want to scale this up perhaps to like trade schools?
We already work with trade schools.
Okay, perfect. Cool.
And online.
So can I ask a follow-up to what he said? If you're not gonna pre-select mentors based on anything, are you at least gonna have a rating system so someone can go in and see that this person has given 12 people really good advice?
Absolutely. After a session, the mentees will be able to rate the mentors, and those ratings will be seen on the profiles. It's a 5-star.
So, how exactly are you incentivizing the mentors to stay engaged?
The mentors, you mean?
Yeah, the mentors.
The mentors. Well, besides the fact they're getting paid, we also have a program called the mentorship program, which is we work with local organizations where we allow mentors to test their career or their job for 48 hours. So let's say you are mentoring in business administration, for example, and then you are mentoring our platform. We have criteria that if you meet, we allow you to do a 48 hours internship at one of the local organizations that we work with. So on one side, we have the incentive of them getting paid. On the second side, we can have them test whatever careers they think about pursuing.
Yeah, what is the compensation structure?
The what?
Compensation structure?
Well, see, we get a cut from whatever session when the session is paid, and then the mentee get the difference. So at the end of the day, let's say a mentor has 4 sessions with 4 different mentors of the same mentor, they'll make about $20 an hour after we take our commission.
Can you speak to what your customer acquisition strategy is? Because this is a little bit of a challenging sell, I think, because, I get the sense of what you're talking about and why it's valuable, but the primary customer is going to be the parent, right?
Correct.
Okay, so can you speak to your customer acquisition
So
strategy?
we are focused on parents, as we know that they're not holding credit cards. Well, we know that after a little research, that parents are actually really involved with their children's decisions for college. They do just as much research, if not more, because they want to make sure that their students are students, are getting the most information before they actually make a decision. And sometimes kids aren't really the ones that are really interested in doing that research. Just from personal experience, yeah, that my choice was almost made by my mother. So going to college. Other than that, though, we know that transfer students and international students, people are already in college, are also target markets, and they're going to be, paying for themselves.
So how are you going to reach them though, is the core of the question.
That's true. What we do actually right now is we work with high school counselors. So through the high school counselors, we can have a flyers for Unimentors added to the package, graduation package and purchasing packages. And we also work with some high schools. Actually, what we found out was some schools didn't want us to directly sell to their student. They wanted to buy packages and they would distribute it. So that's kind of some of the ways we work through to get to the parents.
Thank you.
Do you see this being something that students who have signed on in high school will continue to use for college as they, so for example, I started out in political science, I switched to something else. My mom wanted me in political science, my dad talked me into this other thing, and I wanted aimlessly, and finally I got a psychology degree because the only thing I could actually go to school with and still graduate, before the century ended. So, I could have used, what you're talking about, maybe somewhere else along the process other than getting to school. Because I started in political science because that's where my mom wanted me to go, and she guided me to the school. And then I changed it.
The people are going to be on the platform hopefully throughout their college experience. So we want people when they come from high school, they use the Unimentors, and then they become a mentor after they get to college. They can start right away. All we need is their acceptance letter, and then they need an EDU and email address, and they can become a mentor. So not only do we want them using the site as a high schooler, eventually we want them to be giving ideas. And if they want to transfer or change their major, then they can absolutely.
I do think this is an interesting idea just because I know people pay thousands of dollars, especially in the East Coast, they will pay thousands of dollars to help people, help kids, their kids get into colleges, find the right colleges. Part of this, so I think there is definitely a market, especially, it's an extremely low price point, there's no question about that. I guess where I'm stumbling a bit is that what those people deliver is a very systematized process. You go from step A to step B to C, and this is kind of depends on the mentor, quite frankly. And so, it almost sounds a little like providing a psychology service to some extent, which is what some people might need, but even though there's a huge market, people are willing to pay a lot of money, people feel better when there's like somewhat of a structure around what they're being delivered. I think you're going to have to deliver, I think that the message needs to be a little stronger on what the deliverable is, quite frankly, because that's just a comment, you can take it for what it's worth.
Other questions?
I don't know if that wasn't a question.
Well, first of all, in response to what you said, I don't have could you repeat it real quickly?
Oh gosh. I thought there is a market there. People are willing to pay for it, but if people are willing to pay for it, they want to see something. To some extent, they want to see something, a process, something that they can wrap their head around, rather than, hey, you're going to pay $15 for.
Well, I think the thing too, you're talking about most people want to buy a product, and I think what you're talking about is in a sense, you're buying chaos because you're buying a random person's opinions, and you don't know what's going to come out the other side. As a parent, you want your child to, go into our business school, let's say, but you might be introducing your children to someone that is going to convince them to go into an art major in a little random liberal arts college in New England. Right? That's not, as a parent, you can understand where that as a product might not necessarily.
Well, when they're going to be using
Sorry.
It's okay. When they're using the service, basically it's open-ended, so we want them to be able to ask any question that they have. If they're interested in being on campus and what that's like, or seeing an apartment, we wanted to have that as an availability. Somebody can show them a dorm room. If they want to ask about a class, literally it's anything under the sun that can be considered as something that when you go to college, you're somewhat interested in. So it doesn't have to be confined to academics or anything.
Actually, to add to that, I mean, that's a really valid point. But the thing is, today, you can find 100 different companies that do exactly that. They give you the process, they'll hold your hand between choosing the school you want to go to and everything else. But when I visited the school with, admission orientation student, for example, when I went and spoke to a university, none of them ever told me when I moved here, for example, from France, that it would suck initially to be, at my community college. Like, 2 hours from St. Louis. I knew nothing about it. Everything they told me was, it would be the best way for you to study. You run track, you do all the stuff, you do well. When I came there, my experience was completely different. Today, you can get that from those organized, programs that you get. Because they will deliver to you what they think your success will be. By the end of the day, you are a unique person. If you want to go to that school, we don't force you to choose a university. Actually, when you get on the platform, if you're thinking about 10 different universities, that's the beauty of this thing. You just select 10 universities. And you will have 100 plus mentors, and you will read them. You will read the answers they have. But at the end of the day, the parent and the student will think, this is the student that I'm thinking I might be able to ask him those questions. I wasn't able to ask my career counselor. Those will be the questions that I'm thinking. I was sitting in the classroom, and I don't want to go to college when I was in high school. I was thinking about just being a hairdresser, which actually happened. But some of those kids will not raise their hand in that classroom setting and be like, I'm thinking about going to college. I just want to be a mechanic. We give them that option to understand that there are people that are just like hairstylists, but don't just open the shop, they end up working at TV stations, which we've experienced. And some of those kids will not know that. They will not get that from that traditional route. We want to give them an additional tool where they get to talk to people that just look like them and then, give them unbiased information pretty much.
Yeah, so I guess then maybe that begs the question, who's your customer in that case?
Our customer will be anybody that's in the process of choosing what to study and where to study. There's, just like the statistics we started with, there's probably about 49% of people that know exactly what they want to do. And the other 51%, they switch majors because whatever information that was given to them, or whatever they thought was their choice, they got disillusioned by it. That's why they transferred.
And they're the ones with money? The 51% of high school students that are, in theory, going to use the product?
Well, high schoolers are the parents.
You're talking, but see, that's not your customer. You just told me your customer was the student.
Yeah, your user and your customer
are different.
Are different, yes.
Yeah. So your customer is the person who's actually going to go on, give a credit card for the service and pay for it.
Yeah.
The user is the prospective student. You have to sell it to the customer. What do you tell the customer that differentiates this from other packaged products that they would be
Yeah, I
competing
think
with?
we all get what you're saying, but you need a clearly defined value proposition for the parents that allows them to say, you know what, I'm going to load $200 into my son's account and just let him go nuts on WashU students and Mizzou students, and hopefully he makes a better educated
On
decision.
any students.
Yes.
I mean, that's what you're saying,
Yes.
really.
Yes.
I'm going to let them talk to anyone in the academic world at all. And that's it's an interesting thing, because as a parent, there's a very different set of incentives that you have than maybe as a student.
Yeah.
This is a very passionate group about this subject, obviously. One thing that occurred to me is that a high school student to a college student can tell about their personal experience at the college and what they think of the teachers in the space. But it seems to me an alumnus who's graduated like 5 years ago, maybe max 10 years ago, has a better sense of, did this particular major get me a job? What are the real life future ramifications of this? And you might want to add that into what you offer.
I agree, and this is something we certainly have considered, but right now we're focused on that decision making for college and major instead of the career. But it does correlate, absolutely. But we also want to have the most current information from the students that are out on the campus. 2 years after a program, you get out, it's possible to change. Things could be different. So we wanted to actually have people talking to people that are at there physically.
So I think I'm pushing back on you a lot, wherever Joe is, you especially. But so as I understand it, this is a low buy-in for an individual compared to some of the programming that folks are talking about, the fixers, the whatever you want to call it, people that get you, the system people. Right? You're talking about what, over an hour $50, $45, something like that. So this is more for the student trying to avoid costly change costs. That's the value proposition. Also, hopefully the parents want to see some iota of happiness from their child. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe they're all, hey, I want to see my kid go to Harvard. Melissa, do you like your children?
They're okay.
Oh, they're okay. So Melissa might give you $50, but you know, this is not the same service, right? Is that differentiated?
That's correct.
Right. So this is a precursor, and really, you know, as you grow, the real client is going to be the university, right? Because essentially, what you're selling is influencer marketing for college-age kids, right? You're laughing, but that's essentially what it is. It's,
Well, no,
they're
but I mean,
peers.
that's where this becomes the most cynical business model, right? Is that all of a sudden now you're using a bunch of kids that are now currently at the university as marketing.
Yeah, why not? They do it all the time. Have you ever looked at a college brochure?
I get what you're saying. It's capitalism. I'm just saying that it doesn't really jive with the ethos that I'm hearing projected.
I think to some extent he touched a little bit on what we do, and to also address your point is I think it's discounting the viewpoint of someone that paid 50 grand to go to school.
Yeah.
It is not cynical, because I mean whatever experience that he had being there for that 1 year, sitting in that classroom, failing or succeeding, that's valuable to some extent. I think I could speak for many people that by the time they sign up in the first semester, they probably realize that either they were not even equipped for that that measure and so on. Yes, it's easier for some of us to say, okay, you should have made that right just before, but the truth of the matter is, it's still a problem today. So for us, we feel like, whatever led that person to not be successful that semester, it is still valuable information. If you go today and speak to someone at a university, the 20 plus students that they will present to you when you're visiting, they are very good students. There are those that will speak all the wonders and beauty about the university. The truth of the matter is, not all of them at that university are happy. And then, I'll give you an example, rate my professor. Why do you think that became such a success? It's because people wanted there and go share the fact that ex-professor, and some of those coming not necessarily honest, but they were sharing exactly what they thought it was, which is not just the good part of the university. So we just want people to just get on our platform and think, okay, if I were to be ex-student there, what it would be like for me to be there from an unbiased person. That's kind of what we offer.
So I mean, how are you guys going to control your customer service, kind of? Because you could have a mentor with a certain GPA. How do you know they're actually going to do what you want them to do?
Well, the rating system absolutely is going to help with that. If you're going to give bad advice, or if your session is an awful session for mentors, then you're going to have a horrible rating, and nobody's going to want to book you.
The only thing about that is, you're a business to consumer person, company, and I'm just going to use a different example. You open a restaurant, I go to that restaurant, the first experience with that restaurant is bad food. Not only do I never ever give you a second chance, but I tell everybody I know. I take a picture, I put it on Instagram, I tell Yelp, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, nobody wants to go to your restaurant that knows me. And I know thousands of people in this town. The question is that first bad experience with that bad person. Yes, I rate him a 1. But you've only had 1 altogether. So he tells everybody in his high school, he posts it to the Instagram, blah, 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 and all of a sudden Unimentors goes down in flames after 3 visits. And, you know what I mean, controlling that relationship, especially in the early stages, seems to me to be incredibly critical, because you get one bite at the apple, and then everybody and their brother is going to tell everybody and their brother how horrible it was.
Or how good it was.
Or how great it was.
Or
Yeah.
with that particular mentor.
Right, I understand, but the problem is that they're not going to remember the guys.
You've got 399.
But they're going to remember Unimentors. And they're going to say, Unimentors suck, not that guy. They don't know. Because they don't know who cooked the meal that you got. It's different than the guy who cooked yesterday. Right?
That's very true.
I don't know. I think it's the way to
It's just something to think about.
Yeah, I just had a question about, was that a comment or was that a question?
It's a concern, right? It's just a concern. How are you going to control it?
That's a good point. We agree. That's true. Yeah.
We're also going to technically have a bunch of restaurants on our site, right? So if the first couple 3 are a bad experience, then that mentor will go away. But we've also vetted the original mentors, the ones that we're going to be talking about pretty well. So we're not necessarily concerned with the very first reaction. It's kind of like how Uber does it. You know, if you drop your rating as a driver, you're gone. You're out of there. So nobody's going to want to ride with that person again. And that's kind of what we've got going on here. But if you're on our website and you're a person that's like, oh, I want to talk to this guy. He's got a 1-star rating, and you get a bad advice, so that was your decision to pay for that 1-star rating.
So I don't want to probably pile on to any of the other stuff, but I did have like another just question about compliance and the fact that you're dealing with a vulnerable population in high school students, dealing with an older population, you know, adult-child interactions. How do you do content filtering? How do you do content policing? And how do you actually, do you have any ability to monitor the kind of video conversations that go on? I can imagine this could become a very weird Tinder-ish type thing very quickly if you don't watch out.
That's actually it's a very good point. That's one of the biggest issues or big concern that we had initially when we kind of like, you know, talked to parents and, you know, universities. And we spoke to, you know, both of us have like, you know, background into law and everything. So, but we still went and like, you know, talk to other lawyers, you know, trying to see, you know, exactly. So we had the chance to talk to people that work with, you know, some of the larger companies that exist today, like Facebook and Google and so on. And like Facebook, for example, Facebook has that issue. And then one of the things they do is we actually explored and spoke with, you know, some AI company to monitor the content. But then we had parents and some students that put us in the spot where we have to decide, do we want to give them the privacy and comfort that them knowing that we are monitoring the conversation, or do we want to monitor? And when we did that survey at the time, people just wanted to talk, not knowing that we were there. So for now, that's kind of the route that we took, but we definitely, that's one of the top issues that we have.
So what is your, out of curiosity, what's your liability if something happens on your service then?
Our liability?
Yeah.
To be speaking like a lawyer.
Well, yeah, I mean, I imagine you exploit it.
Yeah, well, legally, the way it works is, you know, the one thing we have to make sure is like, you know, people that sign up on our platform meet the age under, you know, the U.S. code, which is 13. That's one. And the second thing is we want to make sure that the vetting of the people that are mentors are subsequent to the vetting that the university did to actually enroll them in the first place. So when they are enrolled at a university, based on the vetting they do, and we accept them, at the end of the day, the liability is shared between us. What we do is, it's a little bit like the same code that, you know, Google has today. If you go and post content about someone on Google, Google is not responsible for it. We are qualified legally as that same platform. We just connect the people with the information.
Okay, so are you using your servers as intermediaries for video content, or are you doing pure peer-to-peer?
I didn't hear what your question, sir.
Are you doing a pure peer-to-peer communication, or are you actually having video content go through your servers?
It goes through like our servers pretty much.
Yeah, I would suggest not doing that. I can only imagine what would happen if, you know, you had people sharing the wrong video content. You know, because at that point you start actually transiting, you know, all sorts of horrible laws that would not be good for you.
All right, well, we always like to end the Q&A portion with the question, what can the community do for you? So what else, I touched a little bit, but let us know, what are your immediate needs that we can help you with?
Well, we just moved here to St. Louis. We're brand new. We moved here in October. So we're really just looking to connect into the startup community. We knew it was a growing and vibrant country here for the startups, so that's what we're looking for. And then also to receive secondary connections into high schools. High school guidance counselors would be great. Pretty much anybody in the academic industry that we can have a conversation with, sit down and talk to about what they think about it and what we do.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for